Something just snapped in Hollywood, a storm is brewing, and at the center of it all Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and a microphone that belongs to Joe Rogan. What was supposed to be just another podcast episode has now detonated into the kind of career-shaking, image-destroying controversy that PR teams have nightmares about. Joe Rogan didn't just criticize them, he annihilated them, publicly, unfiltered, and without a shred of hesitation. And now the golden couple of Hollywood is reeling. You can feel it in the air. The internet is buzzing, Reddit is melting, Twitter timelines are flooded, people are choosing sides. And for the first time in years, it looks like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are losing the narrative they've controlled so tightly for over a decade. This isn't a hit piece. This is the unraveling of an empire, and it's happening in real time. So what triggered Joe Rogan to go scorched earth on two of Hollywood's most adored faces? It wasn't random. It wasn't clout chasing. It was calculated. It was personal. And it's tied directly to the lawsuit that's threatening to explode wide open. Blake and Ryan versus Justin Baldoni. Rogan made it clear he's not here for the power games, the PR spins, or the weaponization of movements meant to protect people, not destroy careers. He's backing Justin, and he's not alone. Because while Blake and Ryan may have spent years curating the perfect power couple image, romantic Instagram posts, adorable red carpet banter, charming interviews, and squeaky clean brand deals, there's something darker underneath. Something that's now being dragged into the daylight. Joe Rogan didn't hold back. He called out their lawsuit as a power grab, said they were trying to hijack a franchise Justin built from scratch, even hinted they were playing the #MeToo card for leverage, not justice, and the receipts, oh, they're coming out fast. Text messages, recordings, timelines, leaked statements. And the public, they're devouring every single piece. Because this isn't just Hollywood drama anymore. It's war. Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool aviation Jin King Twitter golden boy now finds himself at the center of a scandal that no amount of sarcasm can laugh off. And Blake Lively, fashion icon, actress, mother of four, is being accused of leading a PR smear campaign. So toxic, so manipulative that even her most loyal fans are starting to ask, who is she really behind the camera flashes? And the real kicker, Marvel's watching, brands are watching, the entire industry is watching. Because when Joe Rogan speaks, people listen. And this time what he said has the potential to change everything. Not just for Blake, not just for Ryan, but for the entire Hollywood machine that protects and props up people based on their influence, not their integrity. This isn't a tabloid scandal, it's a reckoning. It's about how power is abused, about how fame can be weaponized, and about how fast everything can fall apart when the truth starts leaking through the cracks. If you think this is just about a podcast episode, you're wrong. This is about the carefully constructed illusion of the perfect couple finally collapsing. This is about the public waking up and realizing they were sold a brand, not people. This is about accountability. And it's coming faster than anyone expected. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will change how you see Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds forever. The Joe Rogan takedown is just the beginning, and the fallout, it's going to be catastrophic. Joe Rogan just lit a fire under Hollywood, and this time it's Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively feeling the burn. In a recent jaw-dropping episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan went all in, slamming the so-called golden couple of Hollywood and siding very publicly with Justin Baldoni. In the middle of his explosive legal battle, Rogan didn't mince words. He made it crystal clear that in his eyes Blake and Ryan crossed a line, and they're now reaping the consequences. What started as a quiet lawsuit has snowballed into a full-blown reputational crisis, and Rogan's commentary has catapulted the scandal into mainstream conversation. The dragging wasn't subtle. It was brutal, relentless, and according to many, shockingly accurate. Rogan didn't just call them out. He accused them of playing dirty, of weaponizing a movement that was never meant to be used for personal gain, and of trying to sabotage Justin Baldoni's career, to take control of a film franchise he created from the ground up. This wasn't a rant. This was a scalpel cutting through the carefully curated public image Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have spent years building. Rogan's blunt assessment sparked an avalanche of public reaction, with fans flooding social media wondering, is this the beginning of the end for Reynolds' superhero reign? Could Blake Lively's fashion icon status and acting career crumble under the weight of her own missteps? It didn't take long for the public to start connecting the dots. Rogan cited the text messages, the audio clips, the receipts Justin Baldoni had already released to back up his claims. In one leaked message, Blake's narrative about a supposed trailer intrusion was directly contradicted by the timeline and tone of her own messages. Ryan, meanwhile, has allegedly been working overtime behind the scenes to distance himself from the lawsuit, entirely trying to pretend he's not a central player in this mess. But Rogan wasn't buying it. He called him out point blank, saying Ryan is very much involved and now trying to retreat because the backlash is getting too hot. It's not just about Hollywood politics anymore. Rogan took it a step further, suggesting that this entire lawsuit was never really about justice or boundaries. It was about power. It was about control. It was about Blake and Ryan allegedly attempting to wrestle the Wayfarer franchise out of Baldoni's hands by spinning a carefully crafted PR narrative. And here's where it gets even more wild. Rogan hinted they were trying to use the momentum of the Me Too movement not to protect victims, but to consolidate their own power and influence over $1 billion brand. He likened it to the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case, a man fighting back not just to protect his reputation but to salvage everything he's built from a mountain of falsehoods. Rogan said Baldoni is going hard in the paint and he respects it. He's one of the few in Hollywood willing to go toe-to-toe with A-list powerhouses and not blink. That kind of defiance, Rogan argued, is rare and needed, but Rogan didn't stop there. He cracked open a Marvel-sized can of worms. Allegedly, according to Rogan, there's a backroom game being played, one where certain stars are getting cast in major roles not based on auditions or talent, but on relationships and influence. He stopped just short of saying Blake and Ryan were directly involved, but the context was clear enough that fans took the bait. The whispers about Blake lobbying hard behind the scenes for a Marvel role have been floating for years, but now paired with Rogan's scathing remarks and Ryan's visible discomfort, those whispers are turning into roars. There are rumors that Marvel execs have been quietly unhappy with how aggressive Blake's team has been using Ryan's leverage as Deadpool to try and muscle her into a role. And according to some insiders, Rogan's recent rant might have exposed what the suits at Marvel have been trying to contain for months, a PR nightmare that could taint their multi-billion-dollar machine. What's worse, sources say Ryan's camp tried to do damage control immediately after the episode aired. Word is he reached out through intermediaries, hoping Rogan wouldn't dive deeper on a future podcast. But that only made the situation worse, because if there was nothing to hide, why be so worried? The internet did what it does best. It pounced. Fans went digging every red carpet moment, every press quote, every suspicious interaction. Suddenly people were questioning everything from Blake's abrupt Marvel ambitions to Ryan's conveniently timed silence. Then came the clip, a segment from Rogan's podcast where he sarcastically called Ryan a predator, whether in jest or not. That word is nuclear. It spread like wildfire. Context didn't matter. Rogan's platform is massive. The damage was already done. The internet began dissecting every past interview, every old clip, every edgy joke Ryan had ever told. And just like that, the narrative spun out of control. This wasn't just about a lawsuit anymore. This had morphed into a full-blown cultural takedown, a reckoning. Meanwhile, Blake Lively showed up to the A Simple Favor sequel premiere alone. Her absence of Ryan wasn't just noticed, it was dissected. The red carpet was cold, the vibe off. And then in a moment no one could have predicted, a lone protester outside the premiere held up a sign reading "Justice for Justin Baldoni." It was small, quiet, but piercing, a clear sign that Blake's image is no longer bulletproof. And in a town like Hollywood, once you lose the illusion of perfection, the fall is fast and unforgiving. Behind the scenes, Marvel execs reportedly held emergency meetings. They know their brand can't afford this kind of mess. They've dropped big names before over lesser controversies. And Ryan might be next if the storm doesn't calm. Even more shocking, the real brand damage isn't to Ryan, it's to Blake. Fashion houses have started quietly distancing. PR teams are scrambling. Even stylists are declining gigs, not because of legal guilt, but because of bad optics. Hollywood doesn't need proof, it only needs discomfort. Suddenly the couple who once ruled red carpets and ad campaigns are being ghosted. No formal statements, no loud cancellations, just a slow, silent erasure, and that's the worst kind. Because in Hollywood, when the calls stop coming and the invitations dry up, it's not a fall from grace, it's a quiet exile. And then the bombshell dropped. Jen Abels, part of Baldoni's legal team, named Blake's PR powerhouse Stephanie Jones in a court document, and the accusations are chilling. According to Jen, Stephanie wasn't just managing Blake's public image. She was the puppeteer behind the whole takedown, allegedly snooping phones, leaking info without permission, and even consulting a psychic to predict drama in Blake's inner circle. You heard that right, a psychic. Jen claims Stephanie weaponized paranoia, feeding Blake lies about Baldoni orchestrating a smear campaign. It gets worse. Stephanie allegedly created burner accounts to troll former clients and journalists. She even accused her own staff of being addicts and alcoholics in a twisted loyalty test. The court documents painted a picture of a woman spiraling, dragging everyone, including Blake, down with her. Now fans are asking, was Blake manipulated? Did she become the face of a PR campaign Gone rogue fueled by one unstable handler with too much power, or is this just convenient deflection? Now that the backlash is irreversible, that's the real question. And if that wasn't enough chaos, now there's speculation that Baldoni's legal team is throwing Blake a lifeline, quietly suggesting that if she disavows her PR team, if she admits she was misled, there may still be a path to reconciliation, or at least to public sympathy. Imagine that, a Hollywood apology tour, a redemptive rebrand, a shift of blame from star to staff. It's risky, but in Hollywood it's a playbook that's worked before. Still, it might be too little too late. Ryan's charm isn't working. Blake's silence isn't saving her, the backlash isn't cooling, it's escalating. And with a court date looming in 2026, every move they make is under the microscope. The trial could drag everything out into the open, the receipts, the voice memos, the internal emails. Hollywood loves a comeback story, but it loves a downfall even more. And this is shaping up to be one of the biggest. So here we are. Joe Rogan may have just thrown the first punch publicly, but the real war is just beginning. Not in the courtroom, but in the court of public opinion. The place where reputations are built or burned, the place where silence speaks volumes, and every red carpet absence tells a story. And right now the story isn't about celebrity. It's about power, control, and whether Hollywood's golden couple has finally lost their grip. Because one thing is clear, the house they built is starting to shake. The foundation of public favor is cracking, and the wolves are circling. Welcome to the Hollywood endgame. So now we're left with one undeniable reality: Joe Rogan didn't just drag Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, he may have triggered a chain reaction that Hollywood's elite never saw coming. What began as a podcast segment quickly snowballed into a cultural and professional reckoning for two of the most carefully curated stars in the entertainment industry. And now that the illusion has cracked, there's no unseeing it. The question on everyone's mind isn't just about what Rogan said, it's about why his words resonated so powerfully. Why did the internet latch onto this moment like wildfire? Why did fans, critics, insiders, and influencers all lean in the second Ryan Reynolds was linked to something ugly for once? It's because people had already been waiting, watching, wondering when the glossy veneer would finally wear thin. Because in this town, everyone eventually trips on their own image. Joe Rogan's commentary was the match, but the fuel had already been building. The whispers about Blake's aggressive, behind-the-scenes power moves. The growing suspicion that Ryan's success wasn't just talent and charm, it was also manipulation and control. The accusations of leveraging their celebrity not for good but for gain. It was all there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the spark. And Rogan, he lit the whole thing on fire. And what's so wild is that it didn't have to be this way. Ryan Reynolds for years was practically bulletproof. He had the charisma, the box office numbers, the comedy, the relatability. He was the guy who could do no wrong. Blake Lively, with her fashion-forward image and media-savvy persona, was equally untouchable. She didn't need critical acclaim, she had cultural influence. She was the girl who could sit front row at Chanel on Monday and headline a summer blockbuster by Friday. Together they seemed unstoppable. But that image was an illusion, one built on pristine optics, not substance. And once it started cracking, all that was left was silence. That silence, strategic, calculated, desperate, has only made things worse. No statements, no redemptive interviews, no carefully worded captions about reflection or growth, just avoidance. Ghosting the public while the narrative spins out of control. And when that happens, people start writing the story for you. And they don't always write happy endings. We're witnessing a slow erosion in real time. Not a sudden cancellation, but a deliberate vanishing. The deals that fall through, the collaborations that go unannounced, the stylists who suddenly have scheduling conflicts, the film offers that mysteriously stall. That's how Hollywood kills careers when it doesn't want a scene, quietly, completely. And what's even more chilling, the growing distance between Blake and Ryan. Because let's not ignore the body language, the solo red carpets, the increasing absence of public affection. For a couple that built a brand on loving each other loudly, this sudden frost is loud in a very different way. Fans are noticing, insiders are whispering. And if the rumors are true that their once ironclad partnership is starting to fracture, then we're not just looking at a PR problem, we're looking at a possible personal unraveling. Think about what this could mean long-term. If Marvel begins to quietly edge Ryan out of the inner circle, if fashion houses stop returning Blake's calls, if fellow actors begin treating them like radioactive liabilities, then their power is done, and not because of one scandal but because the foundation beneath their empire wasn't built to withstand scrutiny. It was built on charm and control, and charm only works when the audience is still clapping. We've seen this happen before, Hollywood darlings falling from grace. Think of the swift fade-outs of those who once ruled the spotlight. Until one misstep pulled the curtain back, but there's something different about this one. Because Blake and Ryan didn't just lose control of the narrative, they may have lost the trust of the very industry that elevated them, and the irony this could have been avoided if the lawsuit had been handled quietly. If the PR machine hadn't tried to weaponize a movement, if Ryan hadn't flinched when Rogan spoke. But every move since then has only deepened the suspicion, the leaks, the ghosting, the psychics, the burner accounts, the court filings. It's like a twisted Hollywood noir unfolding in real time, and the stars of the show are no longer in control of the script. Let's not forget the wild card in all this: Stephanie Jones. If even a fraction of what Jen Abels alleged in the court filings is true, then Blake's entire team may have been operating like a rogue espionage unit, snooping phones, feeding paranoia, manipulating public perception, and pulling strings like a puppet master. The idea that one unstable PR handler could have taken down a celebrity empire sounds like a Netflix thriller, but this is real life, and it's playing out under the brightest lights in the world. Now we're entering what Hollywood insiders call the death rattle phase. That stage where a celebrity's team throws every possible strategy at the wall to see what sticks. Sympathy stories, strategic photos, leaks about therapy or parenting or private struggles. It's all meant to reset the narrative, but when the audience has already turned, those tricks don't land. They backfire. That's where Blake and Ryan are now, trying to fight a war that's already been lost. Not in court, but in public. Because once you become the villain in the public's eyes, the evidence almost doesn't matter. People believe what they feel, and right now no one's feeling sympathy. This situation has also drawn a line in the sand for Hollywood power players. Do you stand with the voices speaking out like Rogan, or do you risk your own image by staying tied to a crumbling brand? Already some listers have gone quiet around Blake and Ryan. No mentions, no likes, no shoutouts, just silence. The kind of silence that says we're not with them anymore. And in this industry, that silence is louder than any statement. The most important takeaway in all of this: perception is power. And once it turns against you, no amount of money or fame can shield you. Joe Rogan might not be part of the Hollywood elite, but he just proved something bigger than any casting announcement or red carpet appearance. He showed that influence isn't about handlers or press releases, it's about resonance. And when his words resonated with millions, Blake and Ryan's bubble popped. We don't know how this will end yet. There are still court hearings ahead, more documents to be unsealed, more media bombs to be dropped, but the damage is done. The mystique is shattered, and the most dangerous thing for a celebrity couple is not scandal. It's irrelevance, because at least when people are angry, they still care. But when the world starts moving on without you, that's when it's over. So maybe Joe Rogan didn't end their careers, maybe the lawsuit won't take them down. But this moment, this brutal, unfiltered public dragging has changed how people see them forever. And that's the kind of damage no stylist, no agent, and no apology can fix. The Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds era might not be over just yet, but the golden glow that once surrounded them is fading fast. And now they're left trying to outrun the shadow of their own choices. Because in Hollywood, once the illusion dies, the empire follows.